Okay, we're on part 3. We left off on chapter 8, so here we go. Keep your stand straight, princess. Warren gives me the warning, but too late on purpose. I can see the smile on her face as she effortlessly slides past my defenses and taps me on the shoulder with her wooden sword. I got you. Again. For the last few days, I've been practicing with Warren and Garland because Claude still hasn't come out of his room. The knights offered to train me, and right now they are teaching me about ways to hold a sword. This is slow, but Claude did tell me I wouldn't be able to master the sword so quickly. Claude, he made me so angry that one day that I could not even properly give him my gift. Yet I still feel sad that he is not here teaching me himself. Come on, princess, focus. I jolt out of my reverie and nod at Warren. Okay. I ready myself for an next stride, and once again get tapped, this time on the hip. Garland takes over after Warren, and then we do rounds where I try to hit them with certain strikes. They're both good at teaching, but it's not feel the same as Claude's instruction. His lessons seem less like they were out of a book. Don't worry, princess, it always starts out slow. Lan was just as slow at training, but look at him now. Garland whips his head around in Warren's direction, his face turning deep red. Warren, that nickname. But you're so much fun to tease, Lan. She beams at him and then laughs at his embarrassed face. Our practice goes on for a few more minutes before the knights tell me to wrap up for the night. I think I'm going to stay out here for a little bit. Princess, you know it's dangerous out here at night. If I don't return in 10 minutes, you can come back and check on me. Warren seems unconvinced, but she eventually nods. Fine, but keep your guard up, princess. I watch the two knights as they head back. I see Garland put his arm around Warren's waist, pulling her closer. I turn away from the sight, ignoring the heavy feelings in my stomach. I'll just practice swings for 5 more minutes. The only thing I hear in the clearing while I practice is my shallow breathing and the wind in my ears. Something breaks my concentration, however. I see a glimmer of color in the forest and I instantly stop, my hands growing tense on the wooden sword. What was that? I glance around at my surroundings and then I freeze when I feel a hand on my shoulder. I can feel someone's breath on my neck. This all feels familiar. Is this Claude? Put your hand over his. I recognize this hand. Claude? I lift one hand from my sword to touch his hand. The breathing behind me hitches and then stops as the hand slides off of my shoulder. I turn to face him, raising my sword in readiness, but by the time I've turned around, Claude already has one hand on my wrist, the other on the edge of my sword. As much as I enjoy the feeling of your petite hands, princess, I would say you just let your guard down. Claude removes his hands, allowing me to lower my sword. I'm sorry, Natalie. I feel my breath catch my throat and Claude holds out the rose pendant that I got for him. I felt my cheeks flush. You accidentally left this beautiful thing in my room when I came to return it. Return it? Yes, you left it in my room and so I only thought it appropriate to bring it back to you. Does he really think I left it there on accident? Why would I leave it in your room on accident? What? I brought it for you and I wanted to give it to you, but you were acting so strangely and... Claude's eyes widen, the surprise clear on his face. Natalie, bought this for me? Why does he look so shocked? Claude looks at me in awe for a few moments. His eyes go back down the locket. He traces a finger around the intricate shape, his eyebrows slowly furrowing. It's to thank you for everything that you've done for me. Natalie, this is beautiful. He lets the chain fall through his fingers as he stares at the rose pendant with adoration. I feel my heartbeat stutter as he turns to regard me with the same gentle smile. He leans forward and my breathing stops as he reaches out to hold my glass slipper necklace. He's standing so close to me. You really are a good person, Natalie. Completed your second good deed. I think some kind of congratulations is in order. Is there anything you want that I can give to you? I look up at him and notice that Claude's smile doesn't reach his eyes. He still looks so sad. I feel like there is so much I want from Claude, but I do not want to ask for something that might make him sad. I want a hug. Huh? Claude looks at me in surprise. He thinks I'm being foolish for making such a request, doesn't he? I shouldn't have said anything. But before I can say anything, Claude takes a step forward and wraps me in his arms. Oh. He pulls me toward him, and in those moments of silence, all I can hear is a heartbeat resounding in his chest. I can feel his warmth all around me, and his fingers clasped gently on my back. I feel so strange. My heart is racing, my knees feel weak. Ooh. Something like this. He speaks right into my ear. It is a surprisingly pleasant feeling. Suddenly, Claude makes a noise of distress as he steps away from me. He's embarrassed. Wow. Weak. All the warmness that was pressed against me 1 moment ago is gone. Karma suddenly stops, eyes wide. He puts his hand on his chest and takes a step away from me, his fingers clutching at the fabric of his shirt. Oh no. Poor dude. Claude has a pained expression on his face, only making me more anxious. Not now. Claude, are you okay? What's wrong? Oh, Natalie, don't. Don't worry about it. He lowers his hand with his pained smile slowly fading from his face. This does look little to reassure me. Was it my fault you were locked in your room for so long? He just looked so pained to be anywhere near me. No, most definitely not. I was feeling under the weather. And also bitter. Bitter? Why would he feel bitter? But it's not for you to worry about, darling. For now, we should head back. It's late and you need rest. I just got back from patrol, so I would like to rest as well. Is there anything else I can do for you? No, sweet Natalie, you've already done enough for me. He clutches the rose locket to his chest and sighs out a little with a gentle smile. His smile feels real to me. This is a beautiful gift, and I will treasure it always. Thank you, Natalie. Now, shall we head back? I nodded him, and we silently walked back to the Martian. When we make it back to the tavern, I feel tired, but also lighter than I have for weeks. Claude wishes me a good night before slowly walking off to his room, holding the rose locket I gave him tightly. Today I'm walking around town to do some errands with Claude. It has been quite a while since we have done this. Though we are here to run errands, there is also something else that drew me into town today. Yesterday, Waltz came back to the Marsh and told us of an announcement the king was making today. Apparently, that announcement had been posted for at least a week's time. But Waltz had only caught on to it after hearing about it from the crowds after one of his puppet shows. I'm not sure what this announcement entails, but I feel that I need to see the king make it with my own eyes. I can see more people milling about than usual, which means most of them must be waiting for the king to speak. I have a bad feeling about this. It is not strange for the king to make announcements, but this feels so sudden. And with everything else that's happened to me, I feel on edge. Wow, Natalie, made those bags sound a lot lighter than they'd actually be. Stop complaining, Miss Karma. You get valuable experience out of carrying bags. Seeing Claude complain is amusing, especially since I know he can handle the load. I feel like a servant. What does that make me when you make me carry all those bags before? An assistant? I roll my eyes at him. We're both working at the Martian, you know. And then the thought strikes me. What do you even do at the Martian? Claude looks surprised at my question, but then he quickly smiles at me. I train the knights, of course. I also attract customers with my beautiful reputation. I start laughing and Claude's face flushes. Darling, I get the feeling you're laughing at me. I wonder. We finish up the rest of our errands and then sit down in the town plaza to rest. Claude leaves briefly and then returns a slice of cake for both of us to share as a snack. I have a lot of things I want to ask him, and now feels like the right time to do so. May I ask you a question? Of course, darling, anything. Do you enjoy dressing like a woman? I don't mind it, really. I appreciate the beauty in anything. You girls get to wear quite an assortment of lovely dresses and makeup. It's quite beautiful. True. It is. I feel more comfortable in my own clothes, but I don't mind dresses. I guess if you've had to wear a dress for so long, you'd get used to it. I have another question. And what would that be? When I was in your room the other day, you spoke about a woman. Were you talking about the witch who cursed you? Oh no, the woman I was talking about. He suddenly goes silent, lowers his head. That probably was an appropriate question to ask at this time. His expression fades into something more melancholy, and I feel my heart lurch. Maybe I shouldn't have brought this up. Duh. To my surprise, Claude continues talking. Shortly after, came to Anjali. There was a woman that I met whose smile was as radiant as sunshine. She was beautiful, and when she laughed, everything felt right about the world. Hearing him talk about her makes me uncomfortable. Am I jealous? Claude watches me quietly as if he has measured my expression, eventually goes back to speaking. I knew her for many months. Time passed, and I thought we were truly in love, and then He goes silent for a few moments, his eyes distant, his expression pained. Well, some things happened, and I realized she only loved me because of my curse. She was drawn to me just as any other woman is. She seemed so genuine in comparison to the other women, but in the end, Claude trails off and lets out an exasperated sigh. You were truly in love with her. I was. I've dated many women, but I've never fallen in love with someone who had honestly loved me back. So then the last person who loved me was that one woman. Claude looks at me, and for a few moments he does not speak. Natalie, do you mind if I ask you a question? No, I don't mind. Have you ever loved anyone? My mother, of course. I was referring to romantic kind of love. Romantic kind of love? What does that kind of love feel like? A love and enlighten you. He smiles at me, and it is surprisingly genuine. It can feel simulously like floating and sinking. Your heart stutters, and you worry about small things, about offending this other person in some way. You wonder if they'll like you, what you're wearing, or if they would prefer a sandwich to a casserole when you treat them for dinner. You begin to find beauty in all the things that they do. Their presence makes you feel complete in a way you had never thought of before. You try to imagine life without that person, find that you cannot. To even consider such a thing is painful so much that it feels like it might break your heart. Claude continues talking, but my mind is already whirling. Though he phrases things in a way that still feels unnecessarily dramatic, I feel a tinge of familiarity. The things he's describing, those are the things I feel when I'm with him. Before I can say anything, we hear the sound of hooves, and the both of us turn. The king! I can see a procession of knights, along with the king of it on his horse. He normally rides into town like this, but today he's not smiling, and there are way too many knights riding with him. And is that... Uh-oh. Sir Alcaster. Let us go find a place to stand and watch. As you wish. Well, Claude walks them into the crowd, gathered around the king, and we find a spot to spectate at the very edge, closer to the alleyways. My beloved citizens of Angeli, I have come before you today to make an important announcement. Ever since I was given this crown, I have sworn to live my life for the people and to rule in all fairness, so that our kingdom could enjoy great peace. The crowd breaks into applause. I stare at the king, an uneasy feeling in my stomach when I notice that there is sadness in his eyes though he is smiling. I think he's forced to say whatever he wants to say, this guy. Then I know Sir Alcaster appears to be hiding a smile like, heh, some sketchy shit. Evil shit. I do not like where this is going. Controlling shit. The king's speech goes on for like long minutes after that, with him detailing the commitments he made, the goals he set, and finally his love for the people. The audience around us claps and cheers, but Claude and I are silent. Something is not right. I nod in response. To this day I keep this promise. I will never break this oath, for it is the foundation on which I rule. The audience claps again, but I am silent, watch thinking intently. Since we know what's going on, everyone's brainwashed already, all these townsfolk. Drinking water. Unfortunately, the unwelcome news that I bring to you today gives me a reason to hand this foundation over to someone else. Now they're going to be upset. I have fallen terminally ill. The king's proclamation is met with shocked and angry chattering from the audience. I cannot hear anything that is being said over the cacophony of voices, but I know that the audience is dissenting. I stiffen as I glare at the king. He is lying. I can tell by the firm set of his jaw and the way his eyes flicker across the crowd faster than the auto. The king has lied to me so many times before that I can recognize when he does it. I know that this unfortunate news must come as a shock, but this is an illness for which there is no current cure. As for the question of my successor, he trails off for a few moments, and I think I see something in his eyes that hint at urgency, but I'm not sure why. Crown Princess Emmeline is unmarried and still too young to rule on her own. I feel a pang of irritation and confusion. Another lie. Emmeline could rule just fine with the help of Sir Maedhros and the others. After much thought, I have come to the conclusion that our kingdom, which still continues to face danger from the witches, is best put in the capable hands of the commander of the Order of Caldera, Sir Alcaster. That's why. What? I cannot hide my shock. The rest of the audience reacts similarly. Their sudden outbursts a testament to their confusion. While I will be providing support and assistance from the sidelines, I cannot in all good grace continue to wear this crown when I know I cannot serve my people as they deserve. Simply put, I believe that the witches have gained more power in the recent months and that Sir Alcaster is being best suited to deal with these conflicts. Dude, he looks pretty evil. The fairy tale curse runs more rampant these days, and there have been more reports of incidences involving magic. The murmuring continues, except now the townsfolk sound panicked. This cannot be true. I did not miss the reluctance in the king's next words. Sir Alcaster has also suggested a number of remedies to our laws, especially concerning our security and work hours. I believe that Sir Alcaster can better rule this country in these turbulent times. I think he's forced to say that. Please show him all the love and loyalty you have shown me. That bastard. Claude has a foul expression on his face and his words feel heavy, even in a low whisper. I know the king. He takes every duty upon himself, and he would never hand his crown to someone else. Once Sir Alcaster comes to stand on the podium, he silences them with a glare. Yikes. Look how messed up he looks. And he also looks like a evil knight, because he's in knight armor. Or I should say he's in armor. Citizens of Angeli, I swear to you that I will serve you as well as Gennaro has. That being said, I also believe some changes will need to be made. Sir Alcaster continues to speak. He mentions things like curfews for safety, extended work hours, and additional taxes should go toward the knights, but I'm slowly beginning to block out the drone of his voice. What is going on? Sir... No, Alcaster must have done something to force the king into this charade, right? And the king stands behind Alcaster with his hands clasped. His eyes alert, but there is a helplessness to them that I have never seen before. It isn't long before the crowd's unsettled murmuring becomes agitated whispering. I am stunned when Claude cups his hand to his mouth and starts shouting. There's only one king, King Gennaro. Claude grips my hand and starts leading me around the outskirts so that people cannot spot him as he continues to shout. Ooh, he's being defiant. Good for you. The crowd begins to chant along with Claude, and then they draw nearer the stage where my father and Alcaster are standing. There's only one king, King Gennaro. There's only one king, King Gennaro. Let's go, Natalie. The crowd is right next to the platform now, and the chant carries on. Claude pulls me behind him, but my mind is on my father and on his desperate eyes. Yikes. Hours later, the Martian's tavern is chaotic. People are talking over each other, trying to relive the scene that they saw in town today. Every visitor here is talking about what they witnessed. I've been in a corner of the room with it this entire time, trying to understand everyone but failing. Delore and Parfait are not here to calm all of this chaos. Hey, princess, how are you feeling? I almost jump when I hear Rumple's voice. Surprised. I can feel when a damsel is in distress, my lady. I'm really not in the mood for your flirting, Rumple. Oh, my apologies. I thought you might have wanted some cheering up. Where's your partner? He went out to town to survey the situation. Carmen doesn't do anything around the tavern, but he does a whole lot for you, doesn't he? I suppose it's the least a man is. I suppose that's the least a man in love can do. I feel myself blush. What is Rumple going on about? Princess, you're pink. I am not. My mind feels all scrambled now. This is all Rumple's fault. Thankfully, before Rumple can continue talking, the door opens and Delora walks inside to call all the Martian boarders into the reception room. When I step into the reception room, I'm surprised to see two familiar figures standing beside Parfait. Emmeline and Rod. Both of them look downtrodden and discouraged. Everyone is noticeably shocked as they step inside. The prince and princess, where did they come from? What is happening at the palace? What of Queen Ophelia? We need silence in the room, everyone. Delore raised her voice, effectively causing everyone to pause. She glanced at Parfait, who nods, and then turns to look at Rod and Emmeline. Princess Emmeline, if you would tell everyone what you told Delore and I. The room is unnaturally quiet as Emmeline begins her story. She starts with the events of 1 week ago. In the middle of a family dinner, Alcaster burst in with soldiers and seized her, Rod and Ophelia, in front of the king. Sir Alcaster said that if the king didn't hand over his crown, he would kill us. We had no idea a coup would be staged. The three of them were taken down the prison cells with Ophelia taken to a separate cell. Sir Fitzgerald helped us escape, but only just barely. Fritz, are you openly disobeying your father? I hope that he is safe. Alcaster wanted to kill the king. I'm sure that he still will. But he has no reason to. The king has already handed over his crown. I speak before even realizing. Everyone stares at me, including Rod and Emmeline. Alcaster is a foul man. I only think he usurped the throne now without violence because he wants less resistance from the people. He never spoke up to my father before. Did you just say father? I don't think she knows. It's a long story. Emmeline looks between Rod and I, her expression confused. You know each other? We do. Emmeline looks like she wants to say something, but she remains silent. Our mother's still inside the palace. We need to save her somehow, and Sir Fitzgerald. What happened to Fritz? We don't know. He helped us escape, but we were spotted at the last minute. He told us to run ahead and leave him behind. We didn't see him again after that, and we couldn't just wait, so Rod brought me here. Right. Now we need to piece together a situation as quickly as we can, and then we need to figure out a way to save the king. I knew Alcaster was up to something, but I never thought it would escalate to this. Warrian, what do you know about this? Garland and I weren't stripped of our titles because we disobeyed Alcaster's orders. It was because we overheard Alcaster plotting something and tried to tell the king of his plot. We gave him a warning, but the king did not believe us, now with Alcaster and my throats whispering in his ears. The king didn't think Alcaster was possible at such a betrayal. He thought we were trying to turn him against Alcaster for our own gain. And so Alcaster stripped us of our titles and banished us from the palace. Lady Parfait found us, and while we were happy to help out at the tavern, we also intended to eventually do something about the mess in the palace. So Alcaster's been planning to do this all this time. Oof. When we part for the night, Parfait and Delora take Rod and Emmeline to a room that they can share. It has been decided that they will be harbored here in the marsh in a place Emmeline apparently knew about but never came to because she wasn't cursed. Which explains why she doesn't know that I'm a princess. Turned into a peasant, whatever. And have Cinderella curse, whatever. Well, Rod did say that his family knew he was cursed. I noticed Emmeline looking at me many times throughout the night, but she never asked me anything. She's like, there's a princess? What? The next few days are a muddled mess. Everyone is busy trying to find out what happened and what can be done to help the king. I am sweeping the tavern half-heartedly one day, my thoughts on everything but my chores. Everyone's been trying to do something to help out the last few days. Though I've gone on quite a few trips into town with Claude to search for information, I haven't been able to find much. I feel so useless. I'm finally on my break, so I decide to go into the reception room to rest. When I step inside, I notice Emmeline sitting on the couch. She waves me over as soon as she sees me. She hasn't really openly spoken to me since she has been here. Parfait and Delora have been trying to hide her so as to not cause a ruckus in the Martian. Rumors are dangerous now. You're Natalie, right? Yes. Rod told me about your curse. He said that you're the king's blood daughter. It's like she never knew me. I'm really sorry. I'm shocked by Emmeline's sudden outburst. What? I didn't mean to, but I took your place. How could I forgive my own sister? We're not blood related. It doesn't matter. We love you regardless. Aww. Emmeline was always trying to take me out and do things with me back when I was still in the palace. I distanced myself from her because I thought the king loved her more than he loved me. I still think that maybe he does. We weren't close. I barely spoke to you or to Rod. Didn't he tell you that? He did. But perhaps now we can turn over a new leaf. Emmeline is as stubborn as always. I have more things to worry about than being her friend. I have to go. I walk off before the conversation can continue. Oh. If I hadn't been cursed and remained in the palace, would Sir Alcaster have taken me hostage too? The hours tick by, and as the tavern is emptied for the day, Delora calls everyone together to explain what she and Parfait have pieced together about the situation. Alright everyone, we've come upon some new information. The first is that Alcaster's cracked down the riots in town, and anyone seen protesting his rule is thrown in prison. The king always valued the people's opinions. Alcaster does not want opinions, he only wants to rule with an iron fist. Our patrols have shown that there is overall more security in the palace and around the town. They have been charged with keeping people quiet in whatever ways they can possibly can. As we heard from the prince and princess, things are most turbulent in the palace. The king is still alive, but it isn't likely he will stay that way for very long. One thing is clear, given Alcaster's motives to take over the kingdom, I doubt he will rest until the king is dead. The king's men have turned against him, and even if they are loyal soldiers still left in the palace, we cannot contact them right now. Rescuing the king and queen will be on us then. We just so happen to have people in this tavern that have a shot at rescuing them. Prince Rod is the key to a secret passage we could use to bring into the palace. Secret passageway, but only the king and the commander of the knights have the key to the passage. So how do they get a copy? Who's going to join us on the mission? Warren and Garland both volunteer immediately, followed shortly by Claude and Waltz. I'll go too. The room goes quiet as I step forward and volunteer. Good for me. Princess, we can't just allow you to put yourself in danger. I look at Claude, who was staring at me, shocked. I took up the sword so I could protect those I care about. Princess, you don't have nearly enough practice. But I can help. I still have time to learn. I agree, parfait, Princess. The palace isn't the place for you to try out your newfound sword skills. Then you may as well train me up, because I refuse to stay here while you all go save the king. Princess. Well, she has been practicing with the rest of us. Don't encourage her, Warren. But it's not like any of us can stop her anyway. You're right, the princess is quiet. Stubborn. Claude agrees with Warren, but I can tell that he does not like the idea of me going along with them. If only we had the time to get reinforcements from Karma's country. Karma's country? Brigantia. How is it possible that a Brigantian citizen can simply ask for reinforcements? Karma is the crown princess of Brigantia. There's some shuffling in the room as everyone turns to gawk at Claude. Rumpel, Anise, Rod, and Emmeline all look shocked by this revelation. You're the lost prince? Lost prince. It sounds like such a tragedy, doesn't it? Anise suddenly looks distressed as she fiddles her thumbs. All this time I never knew. I'm so sorry, Your Highness. There's no need for formalities, Anise. But I'm the last prince after all. I keep my lineage a secret because right now I'm just a normal commoner. But you're the prince. Couldn't you just ask for reinforcements? Even if I did ask for reinforcements, I'm pretty sure they would never come in time. Besides, I can't go back to my kingdom yet. He cannot go back while he's still cursed. The conversation continues in a more solemn tone. Eventually we start speaking of our plan to enter the palace. When the details are all finalized, I repeat everything myself to make sure that I know what is meant to happen. Waltz will lead us to the palace then, and Warren and Garland will follow right behind him, watching for the most immediate enemies. Leave it to us. We'll deal with any resistance before it touches you, Princess. And Karma will be watching from the back along with Delora. A witch and a prince for backup. Delora smiles wearily. Claude rolls his shoulders. I'd like to think of us as more of the closing act. Though if all goes according to plan, we will have no need for either the opening or closing act. It is a small task force, which is better. The smaller the better. The last thing we want is to be noticed. We decided to meet again over the course of the next few weeks to finalize our plan and carefully survey the situation in town before parting. Claude has taken a training me, Warren and Garland at the same time. Just the other day, he had all of us attack him together. Even though I am nowhere near as good as a trained knight, I still managed to hit him once. I feel like things are coming to some sort of conclusion, yet I still haven't done the 3 good deeds. Today, we finalized our plans for getting into the palace. We have mapped out where the king and Ophelia must be in the prisons, where the guards might be positioned, and how we plan on sneaking in. I sit down in my bed and am about to lay down when I hear something. Hello, love. Call me love again. My, you're red. What were you thinking about me? I noticed that he has one hand in his chest tonight, but then he has been doing that more often lately. I notice it during practices and sometimes when I catch his eyes. Is he sick? Darling? I shake myself at the sound of Claude's voice. What if I was changing? You could have knocked. Well, you didn't seem to have a problem when you walked in on me changing without announcing yourself. That's different. He strolls inside and steps closer to me, smiles at me mischievously. Oh, how so? Cat got your tongue? Claude shakes his head and smiles softening. I simply didn't mean to come in to disturb you. I just have something important I needed to say to you. Claude kneels in front of me and furrows his eyebrows. I want to insist you reconsider going to the palace with us. As Parfait and Delora have said many times, it will be dangerous. Nothing you say is going to change my mind. I want to do what I can to help everyone. Yes, and that terrifies me. Terrifies you? If your stubbornness leads to you putting your neck out there for someone, I would never forgive myself for injuries. If you want to help me, stay here where you'll be safe. I'm not some damsel that needs to be protected. Natalie, all I want is for you to stay safe, so that when we save your father, you can face him with a smile. I won't be able to face my father unless I'm one of those people to save him. Stubborn as always. I sigh, irritation welling up in my stomach at the look on Claude's face. He's calling me stubborn, but he's being stubborn about this. You said I've improved with my sword fighting. You have. You've improved so much because of your resilience and drive, and because you're genuinely interested. It's because I have a good teacher. Oh, your compliment is gentle music to my ears. Your compliments mean a lot to me, Natalie. My eyes fixate on his soft smile and at the gentle crinkles at his eyes. Our eyes lock, and for a few moments, I'm aware of a slight energy between us. I glance away hurriedly, not entirely sure of what would happen if I kept staring at him. My heart beats unsteadily in my chest. Earlier today, I comforted your sister when she started crying about the things that had happened in the palace. Emmeline, why would he comfort her? I saw her crying downstairs in the reception room earlier today without anyone there. She's a rather sweet girl. I keep thinking that the two of you are completely different. You're both strong-willed and stubborn, but she wears her emotions on her sleeve while you keep it all inside of you. I'm not hiding anything, and that's what you're implying. Mother always told me crying was weak. Claude stands up and leans forward. Before I knew it, I'm in his arms. Close up. Natalie, I'm always here for you. I feel frustrated again, and my mind feels foggy. I can barely comprehend what's in my mind or in my heart. Thank you. You never need to thank me, Natalie. But you've done so much for me. It is not just the sword fighting, it's your patience, your company, your saving me when I needed help. That's not true. I'm pretty sure I'm the most selfish person in this tavern. All I ever want is things for myself. I never thought you were selfish, Claude. He puts a hand on my cheek and looks at me solemnly. You don't think that me wanting you is... Suddenly steps back, his hand on his chest again, his breathing heavy, stare at Claude with wide eyes. Claude, are you okay? I'm fine. He sighs out slowly, but he sounds obviously pained. I'll go get an ease. No. I'm fine. I swear it's just a spell of dizziness. But you manage a small, tight-lipped smile before he strains and shakes his head. His eyes are visibly shaking. I must be tired. But Claude, do not tell anyone about this, okay? I don't want them to worry. Why is he always so stubborn? He is obviously in pain. I clench my hands to fists as I frown at him. Why must you always be so secretive? You're keeping something from me, Claude. I'm sorry, Natalie. Claude abruptly leaves the room, leaving me in my fragmented thoughts. Okay. Chapter 9. The Rescue. Today, I will land another hit on you, Karma. If you can, darling, I welcome the challenge. Princess, your side is open. I bring my sword up closer to my side as Garland strikes me. Tonight is the first night I get to use a real sword as opposed to a practice sword. The sounds of- oh god, a real sword. The sounds of metal clash and it echoes into the night. Is this what a real battle feels like? We have been practicing under skirmish conditions for the last few days. Since tomorrow's the day we enact our plan, we are doing some last-minute practice. Remember, fighting back to back is better than doing it alone. Claude dodges, warring his sword as he speaks, but I notice that he seems to be taking special care not to look in my direction. He's been fine for the last few days, but I'm not sure when his pain will return. If only he would tell me what was wrong with him. When Claude finally calls the end of practice, we are all exhausted. Good job, everyone. You'll all be fine tomorrow. Garland turns to face me, a soft expression on his face. And if it comes down to it, Worry and I will protect you. Garland looks over his shoulder at Claude. Both of you, that's our job as knights. I'm quite capable of protecting myself, but I do appreciate the offer. It's late. We should all get some rest. The two knights excuse themselves, leaving me with Claude. Natalie should go to bed. Princess, I have a feeling I won't sleep much tonight anyway. Be that as it may, you still should try. I'm about to retire for the night as well. I want to talk to you. About what? Claude takes a step back and his stares hand absently moves to his chest. Are you really okay, Claude? I've been perfectly fine this past week. He's lying. He is obviously in pain. Why do you have to keep your pain a secret? Why won't you talk to me? I've told you before that some things are better kept a secret, Princess. Claude sighs out, but leans forward to set a hand on my head. Natalie, promise you'll stay behind if we're attacked. And if at any point it looks like we may not make it, you're to run as fast as you can back to the Martian. But that is cowardly. Natalie, do you remember what I said before? Sometimes running is the right thing to do. Never run into an impossible situation. Instead, live to fight another day. Promise me you'll stay behind me. Please, Natalie, give me the peace of mind. I cannot promise that. Princess, I'll be fighting right beside you if it comes down to it. I'm going to protect him. Staying behind him will only have him suffering because of me. Stubborn until the very end. I only want to be in equal footing with you. Claude sighs but does not say anything. Let's attempt sleep in preparation for tomorrow. When this is all over, I'll pry Claude's secrets out of him. Got him, pushy. I'm stubborn. Tonight is the night, and everyone is just about ready to go. So it's the next night. I can't get the feeling of foreboding off of my chest. Everyone is gathered close to the door, ready to see us off. Everyone except Princess. Rumble suddenly appears, and he's coming up to stand right next to him. What are you two doing here? Well, of course we can wish you good luck, just like everyone here. We'll be waiting for you tonight so that we can celebrate everyone's return. Be careful. Emmeline, who has been everywhere with her brother since he came here, is standing right beside him now with a smile. I'll pray for your safe return. Her smile wavers, and I could tell she is uncertain. She has a great Knights of Caldera, 2 witches and a prince. She'll be fine. Rod's responses are curt as usual, but I cannot help but notice the hesitance in his voice. Even though he stares at me with that expression, I think I can see a tinge of worry in his eyes. Rest assured that we will keep the princess safe. We're not going to let Alcaster get away with what he did to Anjali and its royal family. Parfait steps forward last. She and Delora glance at each other, and I feel as if some secret message bounces between the two of them. Delora nods ever so slightly before Parfait turns to the rest of us. Her eyes eventually fall on me. You've changed since you've been here, Princess, but your dedication and resolve never wavers. It has always been there, just beneath the surface. Stubbornness or resolve? It is as if Parfait is able to read my thoughts. She smiles as she sets a hand on my shoulder. Your dedication is very much like King Gennaro's. You are proud and honorable and always take steps in the right direction. That is why I know you'll be back tonight. Just as Rumble said, we'll all be waiting for you. All of you. Stay safe tonight. I nod my head as everyone gathered around begins to repeat their hearty goodbyes. It is Delora walks away first. We all follow behind. The night has just begun. Here we go. Our way to the palace gates is uneventful, but we pause some distance away from them to take shelter in a nearby alley. There are knights everywhere. Waltz points to what looks like a regular section of the wall. There's a hidden door to the tunnels, and if we time it right between the knights' patrols, we should be able to make it. On my signal. Claude puts his hand on my shoulder and squeezes. It is an abrupt gesture and doesn't last long, but the motion calms my nerves somewhat. We will be fine. Okay, we're in the dungeons. Our footsteps echo on the the castle tunnels. Okay. Our footsteps echo in the tunnels. Standing in front of me are Warren and Garland, who are flanking Waltz. Dolores stands beside me and Claude is at my back. This small tunnel makes it seem like we brought a lot of people. This way. We silently follow Waltz's instructions. He knows what he's doing, this little boy. How does that Waltz knows about these tunnels? That's what I have to ask. I've already taken into account the guards and where they might be positioned based on Prince Rod's information. We should be alright. Garland and I will act as distractions if needed. Princess, leave most of the fighting to us if there is any to be done. I know. I will only fight if I need to. If only I wasn't cursed, I would be able to fight to my full extent. I think you're still quite capable without a magic puppeteer. Oh, a compliment. It's an honor, Miss Karma. I'm only in this dress because of Orion, you know. Orion crossed her arms and cocks an eyebrow at Claude because she's a woman. I wouldn't fall in love with you no matter what you say. That's what they all say. We're here. Suddenly everyone goes quiet. I feel a lot heavier as I stare at the staircase in front of me. This should lead to the throne room. I did not know we had a secret passage in the throne room. How much does Waltz know about the palace? Immediately after stepping into the throne room, we split apart to avoid the guards' gazes. I stay close to Claude and Waltz as Dolores conjures a blanket of shimmering fog that envelopes the guards. Here, boys. I watch as the guards' eyes close before they slump to the ground. Dolores drops her hands once all the guards are truly asleep. Amazing how intolerant humans are to magic. Let's keep going. Now we're in the hallway. Getting through the palace is no easy feat. Hallways that were easy to get through before are difficult to traverse now with all of the soldiers standing around. Dolores casts a spell that silences her footsteps with quiet muffles, but moving is still difficult, especially with such a group. Eventually we arrive just outside the tunnels that should lead to the castle's prison. I'll stand watch. Be careful, Waltz. I will. Oh, deja vu. We enter another network of tunnels. Warren and Garland after you. Warren glanced at me briefly and then at Claude and he nods a little stiffly. We'll be right back. In accordance with the plan, Claude and I are left at the halfway point of the tunnels to ensure a clean escape as Dolores, Warren, and Garland continue on to the prison. They should be fine, but I'm still worried. My eyes wander to Claude and I bite down on my lower lip when I notice that his hand is once again raised to his chest. I find myself reaching out to grab Claude's hand, but he swiftly pulls it away. The glare on his face takes me by surprise. Why is he so angry? Claude puts a hand on his chest and flinches as he leans on the wall. Not now. His voice sounds pained. What is he talking about? Claude? I just need some space, princess, but I am fine. I cannot help but feel irritated at the way Claude has snapped at me. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be this way. He trails off, his eyes distant. Because of your curse, right? Most of the time he is sociable and a pleasure to talk to, but then he reverts to this state. It is like he has two different people. I cannot understand why he's like this. Split personality? I don't know. Why do I care so much for someone who keeps secrets? Natalie, I wish I could explain, but if I did, you would hate me. Or more accurately, you would be afraid of me. Why would I be afraid of you? I can never be afraid of you. How about that? What is there to be afraid of? Claude wears a pained expression as he looks at me. I see him once again grabbing the collar of his dress, looking like he's in some kind of quiet agony. That's what she said too. Is he talking about that one woman from before, the one who didn't love him? Why is so hung over someone who doesn't even love you anymore? Jesus, ridiculous. He thinks I'm the same? I'm not like her, dude. Natalie. Claude's voice trails off the sound of running. His hand moves quickly to the hilt of his sword just as I reach for mine. We only relax when we see that it's Warren, Garland, and Delora are heading toward us. Why are they alone? Where are the king and queen? They were in the prison. I have no idea where else they could be. Delora steps out from between the two of them, her expression somber. This doesn't bode well for us at all. We can't keep sneaking without a direction. That's a sure way to get caught. The words have just left her mouth when the alarm sounds behind us. Don't tell me. It's alarm. Everyone draws their weapons as Waltz appears, running toward us with a harried expression on his face. The knights are on their way. How did they know we were here? In seconds, I hear the clanking of metal, and then there are knights upon us. We are forced to scatter to deal with different opponents. A guard rushes at me with a sword, and I somehow manage to block his attack. Come on, me! I should be able to wind around him. The knight falls after I catch him from behind and give Claude an opening and attack him. Natalie. A knight manages to separate Claude and I, leaving me by myself. He grabs my arm. Unhand me! Ooh, some magic! I watch in shock as the shimmering fog surrounds my attacker, his eyes closing as he slumps to the ground. That's Delora, I think. He is only the first to fall. Seconds later, most of the knights in my immediate vicinity, I think she's doing the cheating scheme here. Whatever, Delora. Has fallen to the ground. I can tell by the settled rise and fall of their chests that they are asleep. She put some sedatives. Sleeping potions. Sleeping magic. Sorry, I couldn't focus long enough to cast a spell either. Delora drops her hands and tries to dress Waltz, Claude, and I head toward the entrance hall. The king must be in one of the central rooms. Warren, Garland, and I will head to the bedchambers in the east wing to look for the queen. Splitting up is not part of the plan. We don't have much of a choice anymore if we're going to get the king and queen out of there. We have to improvise. Now go. Claude grabs my hand and jerks his head at Waltz. Let's go. The three of us rush out and into one of the palace hallways. I keep my gaze forward while Waltz and Claude watch for enemies on either side of us. On our right. Claude grabs his sword and moves before Waltz and I can respond. He dives low toward a soldier, his sword posed straight for a devastating blow. Knights begin to approach us from the left, and I raise my sword, readying myself. Waltz snaps his finger, a flash of light blinding the men in the immediate vicinity. Oh, Waltz has some power, dude. And I use the opportunity to rush the knights in front of me. I grit my teeth as I attack. Most of my blows are lucky. There are too many knights for me to be able to get the upper hand. There's so many of them. Well, if it isn't the most desirable princess. I whip around and attack the man that spoke to me, but he is nowhere to be found. Where is he? Who are you? I wonder. Natalie. I turn to see Claude running toward me, a panicked expression in his eyes. I take a step toward him, but the masked man suddenly blocks my path. Oh, I remember this guy. Who are you? I raise my sword, but the masked man taps his cane on the floor before I can swing. An incredible pressure blasts out from the cane. It was kind of powerful. It shoves Claude to the floor and blows me backwards. I hit the wall hard and my vision darkens. Oh, shit. Claude. Where am I? Why can't I see anything? My head hurts. Rise and shine, Sleeping Beauty. I jerk upright at the familiar voice. You're the man who knocked me out. The man laughs and I blink as I try to pinpoint the direction of his voice. Did he blindfold me? I command you to take off this blindfold. I don't take orders from princesses that no one remembers. But I'm a gentleman, so I suppose I shall have to heed a lady's request. The blindfold is abruptly pulled off and I flinch at the sudden brightness. I forgot who this dude was. Why, hello there, princess. My captor looks at me amused, not amazed. Oh my god, princess. He wears a crooked grin on his masked face and a cape on his shoulders. Who is he? My eyes wander the throne and I cannot help but gasp what I see. The king is strapped to the throne, hands bound, mouth covered. Your Majesty. The king paused to look at me, his eyes containing a mixture of alarm and confusion. I turn to glare at the masked man. Let him go. No can do, princess. Though, don't you think he still looks regal sitting on his throne like that? I grit my teeth as I begin to struggle against my bonds. Struggle all you like, you won't get out of those knots anytime soon. Who are you? The masked man drops into elegant bow. I'm called Varg. Varg. What have you done to my father? Me? Nothing. Well, nothing much. I guess gagging a person and tying their hands behind their back counts as something. Are you working for Sir Alcaster? I don't work for anyone, so here he's a mercenary. The door flies open and Alcaster steps in, his face full of anger. Mithros, the fool, how so useless he was. Varg gives a dismissive shrug. He regards me again with his mischievous smile. Well, I do agree with that wholeheartedly. That man is in the past. Here in the present, we have someone far more interesting to deal with. Varg gestures at me. God damn it. I glare at Varg before turning my gaze to Alcaster. I used to think Alcaster was someone to be respected, not anymore. If it isn't the princess herself, you remember who I am. Once Mithros made that connection, it was just too obvious to be false. Could Sir Mithros remember me? Alcaster shifts his attention to the king. Gennaro, do you not remember this girl as your own blood daughter? My eyes meet the king's, but I see no recognition in his gaze. He cannot remember me. I haven't managed to break my curse yet. Why are you doing this to my father, the kingdom? Everything I do for the kingdom. All successful rulers have run in with an iron fist. Fear is the best motivation. A king that is too lenient and does not inspire fear has no business being on the throne. But the people of Anjali love their king. Before I had thought that the town people were despicable because they hated me. Now I understand those reasons. They may have judged me as mother's daughter, which is wrong, but that does not mean they should be subject to a regime of fear. Your obligation as a ruler is to rule for the country, not the people. Back when the queen was still alive in this place and in the fear of the witches, they were far more productive. Fear motivates. Fear makes a man. It also makes the asshole an evil man. Sir King Alcaster. You better have a good excuse for interrupting. Your Highness, there's a beast. What are you blathering about, you fool? A beast, a magical beast is rampaging around the palace. Is this the dead witch's doing? Dead? Witch? No, Dolores fine, she has to be. Out with it, did Mithros do this? What? I cannot stop myself from blurting out the question. Sir Mithros is a witch? He was a witch, but now he is dead. He turns to his knight and demands more information. I'm too shocked to hear their words. Sir Mithros, a witch, impossible. What of the other palace intruders? We managed to apprehend some of them, but we can't get everyone with that beast taking us out. I'm glad they're taking you out. The damn Mithros is still a pain even after death. What did you do to Sir Mithros? Did you not hear me, girl? He was dead, killed by my hand. But why? He was helpful at first. Worked together to achieve our own personal goals. He eyes me cautiously. He wanted you, princess. If Sir Mithros was a witch, that would explain why he still remembered me. Why did he want me? Who knows? It doesn't matter anymore. I gave him my knights to assist him in the search when the witches could not. But in the end, that fool was too power hungry. You never entered into my plans. You would have been safe, princess, but you just stayed put. But now they are here, you'll come in handy. Alcaster turns back to the knight, who immediately bursts into explanation once more. The beast is moving quickly. We don't know how much longer we can keep it from this room. There's a beast in the palace, and Sir Mithros doing? I'm so confused. And what about the others? Are they okay? Let me go, Alcaster. You are not going anywhere. It sounds like some of your friends are very persistent. They'll be coming for you, and when they get here, I will kill them. You, princess, are going to make excellent bait. You know I like this turn of events, kind of amusing. You, tell me what all of this is. Varg looks unmoved by Alcaster's anger. It is Mithros that summoned the beast, is it not? Then he must know what is happening. You're asking me of all people? As if I would be able to answer any of your questions. You. Varg! It doesn't matter how many times you say my name, Alcaster. I won't have any answers for you. Sir Alcaster turns to me, his eyes manic. Whatever this is, Mythra's magic or magic belonging to one of your friends, I'm not going to let it live. Could Delora create a beast out of thin air? Sir Alcaster draws his sword from his sheath and curses under his breath. I squirm, desperate to find some kind of break in my restraints. Varg surprised me, however, by reaching down and cutting the ropes, binding my arms with a sword that I recognize. You have my sword. I stand up as quickly as I can and grab the sword from him. That was too easy. I eye Varg wearily as his mouth twists into a smirk. What are you doing? Why are you helping me? Help? All I did was cut some ropes. Besides, I'm curious to see what you'll do with that toothpick of a sword. He talks like he doesn't care at all what happens. Don't think about it too much, Princess. It's probably a little too much for your small head. I swing my sword toward him and Varg catches it with his cane. Damn. You really think that I'm the one you should be fighting? The door creaks and falls off its hinges. The knights stumble back and hear screaming as loud footsteps scounds against the hall's tiles. So what will you do? Run, hide, or will the beast kill you too? Woo! That's some beast, alright. My eyes focus on a large figure entering the room, though I cannot make out specifics at first. The form grows more distinct the further it moves into the room. Whatever this is, I cannot fight it. There's a moment of eerie silence and Alcaster yells, and the knights rush forward, attacking the beast as a collective. The beast throws him off with surprising nimbleness. His rage is in every swipe. I dodge away just before a man's body falls on top of me. Oh no. Over here, beast! Sir Alcaster rushes at the beast. I finally managed to get a clear line of sight of the king, who is still bound and helpless on the throne. The king. I have to get out of here. I run toward the throne, but someone stops me dead in my tracks. Saving the king really shouldn't be your priority right now. I grit my teeth and swing my sword at Varg, but he easily darts away from me. It's pretty good. I will be watching my back. It is then that I notice the beast slowly making its way toward me. Why would it be after me? Either I stay here and fend it off, or Alcaster catches the beast with a broad swipe of his sword, and the two are focused once more on each other. I glance urgently at the king, but then the doors. The beast moves again, and I realize it is once more heading toward me. There's no way I can help the king in all of this mess. I need help. I have to find the others. Hopefully Alcaster will keep the beast busy long enough for me to get them. I turn and bolt through the room, weaving my way through the chaos of knights as I head toward the door. I glance over my shoulder one last time at the king. His eyes are trained on the battle before him. His hands grip the arms of the throne, but there's nothing he can do. That's my dad. I'm so sorry, I'll be back. But for now, I have to find the others. I dart past the carnage in the room, stepping over and around bodies as they appear. Halfway the door, the beast lunges past Sir Alcaster. In a few moments, I would think it might be attacking me. Stay back. I hold my sword out in front of me and stand in a defensive position like Claude taught me, but the beast never reaches me. You've ruined everything, beast. Alcaster is suddenly in front of me, waving his sword at the beast. I stumble back toward the doors, my heart beating loudly in my chest. I feel like this is, one of my friends. I have to get out of here. I don't think the beast is a bad person, because it's not really attacking me. Chapter 10, The Beauty and the Sinner. I think it has to do with Beauty and the Beast. Claude. Where did the beast come from? Knights immediately rush toward me. I back away as fast as I can without re-entering the throne room. Princess, come quietly. We'll keep you somewhere safe until all this dies down. I raise my sword and stand ready when the knights surround me. I order you to stay out of my way. Our apologies, Princess, but we are under orders from the king. Alcaster's not the true king. What did he offer you for your loyalty, wealth, status? That is none of your concern. One of the knights moves toward me and I react on instinct, swiping at him. You might want to put that down before you hurt yourself, Princess. Do not antagonize me. One knight rushes me and my blade connects with his shoulder. Another approaches me from behind and I hit him with the back of my sword. The third moves too fast for me and I feel his blade cut into my shoulder. I hiss the pain that sings from the wound. I'm bleeding. The next time he swings, I successfully manage to evade him, but then bump into another knight. I'm surrounded. Just come with us, Princess. We don't want to hurt you. No. I feel one of the knight's hands on my shoulder, attempt to pull away from him, but stop when I hear him scream. Uh-oh. That's a beast, honey. That's my buddy. I feel like that's, Karma. Or Claude. The beast stands behind me, eyes narrowed, its mouth gaping wide. A scream escapes my throat. I think he's gone in beast mode because he's protecting the shit out of me. The knights change their focus to attacking the beast, but easily swipes him away as it advances toward me. It's getting closer. I desperately back up. However, my back soon hits a wall, and with nowhere else to go, I stand in the defensive position that Claude has taught me. I hold out the sword and then use it to throw back the beast's shadow claw as it reaches out for me. That stance. It talks. Stay away from me. The beast moves toward me again and I stumble in place, struggling to hold my ground. I think a knight throws the sword, the blade impaling itself into the beast's shoulder and giving me an opening. The beast's wounded arm swings into my reach and I lash out my sword, managing to draw blood. Princess. Delora would never create a beast like this. This has to be Sir Mithra's doing. Are you dumb, girl? What's a rose and what's a beast? Beauty and the beast. An attacking knight catches the beast's attention and I do not wait. As the beast turns, I raise my sword and manage to slide it deep into the beast's chest. A piercing cry erupts from somewhere deep in its throat and I stumble back without my sword, which is still stabbed through the creature's heart. The beast collapses to the ground and stares as it raises his hand to his chest. That motion reminds me so much of... Right. It was all an illusion. A glimmer of light catches my eye. It freezes as I stare down the ground. Oh, no. Right there, where the blood is already pulling around the sword and the beast's chest is road-shaped locket. The locket I gave Claude. Why do you? The beast stares up. I'm so dumb. The beast stares up at me with glassy eyes, his mouth barely moving. After a few moments, a low rumbling comes from the beast's throat, and I realize it is a grisly pained chuckle. Afraid? Of me? I told you. The beast stares at me unblinking. He's a beast. The beast stares at me unblinking, but his eyes are already beginning to haze over. The way it speaks in the locket that it has. I look at the locket again, and the blood seeping through the surfaces, and suddenly I realize, if I ever told you the reason, you would hate me, Natalie, or more accurately, you would be afraid of me. Oh, this hurts. No, no, no. Oh, no. I kneel down beside the beast. Oh, I'm gonna cry. I was wrong. No, no, no. Claude. I clutch the locket in my chest and kneel over the beast. Claude, no, please. I lean down and listen to his breathing, but there's nothing but silence. Everything around me goes dark. I killed him. There's the sound of footsteps behind me, but they are mute, unimportant. Claude, I'm so sorry. Oh. The end. What? Bad end. Okay. Well. Okay, so to get Karma's good ending, we're redoing some of this. We're gonna stand up for Rumple. No matter how annoying Rumple is, I don't think it deserves to be abused so much. Besides, Karma does not usually lash out like this. I'm going to stand in front of Rumple. Princess. And you can always skip it too. So if you watch the other ones, I'm gonna speed through this. I'm gonna remain inside. On second thought, maybe it would be dangerous. I turn around to Laura looking at me with amusement flickering in her eyes. Did you come down to visit Mr. Burma or something? I didn't think you two have been so close. We haven't. It was a joke, Princess. You really don't have a sense of humor, do you? I think it is you does not have a sense of humor. Snappy as a crocodile as always. So what are you doing down here? Couldn't sleep? Me too. I heard some sounds, just wanted to see that you were coming they were coming from. Sounds as if they were spooked by some sound from the forest, or are you just too curious for your own good? Curiosity killed the cat, you know. I did not ask for your opinion, witch. Well, the both of us could use some fresh air, don't you think? I stare at her in surprise. Come on, I know a place we can go. Okay, we're gonna skip through this. I can see why you wouldn't tell her. Because she's better than me. No, because if you told her she refused, then it would be difficult afterwards. You understand, Princess? Of course I understand, not stupid. No, I didn't mean it like that. Don't take offense, Garland. It's just the way she talks. The princess is a fragile flower with her petals always curved inward. What does that even mean? See, if it were Warrior, you'd probably know, but I'm just as confused as you are. I don't think so. I don't think anyone understands half the fluff Karma speaks. It's because I weave love and dedication every single one of my words. There's a beauty in deciphering them. But enough idle chatter, sir. Let's continue our training. We're gonna get the same one. The fancy cupcake with the lizard. Skip that. They're in the last videos if you want to check that out. Choose Karma. He obviously wants to leave, but I cannot help myself. Miss Karma, I do wish you would say something. At the very least, you would thank the girl for a compliment. Oh no, it's quite alright. Come on, Karma, you're usually the most charming person on these streets. Thank you? He sounds like he is dying now. I cannot help but start laughing again. The small annoyance on Karma's face seems to dissipate completely, leaving. I'm gonna fight back. I have to fight back. Maybe I can still draw people's attention to me. I try to squirm my way out of the man's arms, but it does not work. He chuckles lightly at me while I elbow him in the stomach. For a few moments that I'm free, I'm able to run, but all too much the man grabs me again with the same punishing grip over the mouth and nose to stop me from screaming. You're a real feisty one, aren't you? I feel like I might faint. In one last attempt to get free, I tug at the man's hand with my own and manage to shift it with just enough until I can bite down on it. Ow! The man screams in pain, his grip finally loosening. I can hear him curse and run away from him. A few minutes later, I realize I have gone in the wrong direction. I soon come to a dead end in the alleyway, and I can hear the man running up behind me. What is this before me? Okay, we're gonna skip through that. But I managed to escape. It doesn't matter, Princess certainly made the effort. But I digress. You are quite welcome. Okay. Skip through that. I'd say instead of the eyes, we did the eyes last time, we're gonna do the lips. Despite myself, I find my gaze dropping to Karma's lips. Why do I feel like I'm walking into a trap? The lips? My princess, I didn't think I'd ever hear you say that. You looked at my lips when I smiled. I did not say that. Oh, but you did, and Princess, I do believe you were blushing. Even though Karma never said he was referring to his features, I thought about his lips anyway. The thought makes my heart flop, though I do not have the faintest idea why. Anyway, I agree, though eyes are important, a smile isn't quite as brilliant without the lips. Without the lips? I try to imagine a smile without lips and shudder. That's creepy. Sorry, Princess, I misspoke. Try to spell the image from your mind. Anyway, LH is the order of things. Try to convince them. Fighting back is useless when I'm outnumbered. We're gonna skip that. I think we're gonna do that. Okay. I'm gonna step away from him. I take a step away from him and Karma's hands fall from my shoulders. He sighs out. The story better be just as dramatic as mine. Thank you, Natalie. For what? For agreeing to listen. And for what you just did. Stepping away from him? Was I distracting him? What's... Okay, no. You have to tell Warrior. We already did that one. Choice. We don't topple him on the good route. We bite his hand. I'm going to feel terrible about this, but I have to try. I try to shift my head to get enough space to bite down. Even Claude cannot hold me completely still as I squirm. Eventually, hand over my mouth moves just enough for me to open my mouth, but I falter. I cannot bite the hand that I injured. Unable to do anything else, I mutely shake my head as I hear Claude groan. In one swift motion, he pushes me down the ground, pinning my hands by my head as he frowns at me. You're not even going to try and find an opening? I glare at him. I'm not going to bite your hand. By my hand? I didn't even think of that. But you make it obvious. You put your hand over my mouth. I'd meant for you to try and move my hand. Pushing back a person's thumb usually causes their grip to loosen. How was I supposed to know that? Experience the best means of practice, as I say. I have a complaint about that particular lesson, but I withhold it. That was a pretty good attempt, love, but not good enough, I'm afraid. I wasn't expecting to come at me like that. I was expecting sword practice. I'm gonna scold him. I did that last time. Let's run the errands first. Might find something while we do the errands, then we can get out of the way. Besides, it's not right for me to put Claude above everyone else. Okay, skip. I came to speak with you. I came to give him something, but I just want to speak with him. I haven't seen Claude in a while. Why? Because you've been doing everything by yourself lately? You came to complain? No, I wanted to check on you. Princess, can you not read the mood? You can have all... could have at the very least knocked. Okay, skip. We're in the next part. This all feels familiar. Is this Claude? Turn and point your sword at him. Pretty sure I recognize Claude's hand, but because I know it's all his, it's him, I also know that he'd want me to do. I duck away from his hand and turn quickly to point my sword. The tip of the wood is at his neck, and for a few stunned moments, I think I've won. Even Claude looks surprised. It's really him. But then Claude's hands have moved, and he has one hand over my wrist and the other on my sword. Good, Natalie. Realize your hand wasn't opening, but you broke your concentration. Claude. I want a hug. We already did that one. Say thank you. Okay, that was okay. promise. You want to be good on this route. I can never be afraid of you. Okay, let's see if that changed. We're left where we were. Chapter 10, The Beauty and the Beast, see? So we're playing the Chapter 9 route. Okay, here we go. Where did the beast come from? Knights immediately rushed toward me. Back away as fast as I can without re-entering the throne room. Princess, come quietly, and we'll keep you somewhere safe until all this dies down. I cannot take them all at once. Even knowing that I still pull out my sword, take a few steps back, and then suddenly feel my back pressed up against something. It's the wolf! It's the beast! The beast stands behind me. It's back to me. I stand and shout, and I realize if it turned around, it could swat me to the walls just like the rest of its victims. But it's just standing there, together. Together? The beast is nothing more. Though I still feel an edge, there's something oddly familiar about this. Claude told me once it was better to go fight back to back. I will trust you for now, whatever you are. I do not know if it understands me, but I do hope it seems more like a human than any kind of animal. Princess, get away from the beast, it will. The knight never finishes his sentence as a beast sends him flying through the air. Yikes. Why is it helping me? The knights fall like dominoes to the beast, but managed to remain standing when I strike them with my sword. Even just taking one down is so hard. These men have been trained for years while I haven't even had the luxury of a year. Out of the corner of my eye, I sense movement. I see a glimmer of silver, and hear a grunt as the sword is raised into the air. The sword is nowhere near reaching but the beast. I aim a kick at an approaching knight before whirling around to look at the beast. The one oncoming sword comes close to the beast's exposed back, and I know the beast will not be able to dodge in time. Move! I shove past the creature and catch the knight's sword with my own before I can harm the beast. My arms are shaking underneath the strength of the impact between our swords. I feel like my arms are going to give out. Then a flash of light appears so bright that everyone is temporarily blinded. I stumble back, rubbing at my eyes from the sounds, but the beast is continuing to drive back the knights, most of them shouting to each other to retreat. What was that? When I'm finally able to see again, my eyes automatically land on my feet. I stare in shock. My glass slippers! Glass slippers? I quickly reach up to my pendant and realize it is no longer there. I did a good deed! I completed my 3 good deeds? Natalie. It knows my name. I look around and realize the beast and I are alone, the knights having fled. Did the beast drive off the rest of them? I feel the pressure on my back and realize that the beast is touching me. My first instinct is to run, but the words it utters next paralyze me. You, okay? Every word sounds breathless and pain like it takes too much to speak. It is worried about me? I watch in shock as the beast appears to gesture toward my shoes. You did it. I step back warily. What are you? The beast reaches out and I see something glittering to the palm of his hand. The rose pendant. The rose locket. Oh. For a few moments, my heart plummets into my stomach and my hands begin to quiver. What did you do to Claude? The beast's shadowed fingers curl over the locket even as he stares at me. I gave the lock to Claude. The beast only stares at me for a few moments longer, and then suddenly I realize that his words, nothing more than a pained growl, do not hold any malice. I gave that locket to you? The beast slowly nods. My grasp on my sword loosens as I stare at him in shock, realization dawning upon me. Claude, yes. So this is your secret. Why would you not tell me? I could have hurt you. Claude is another form, a cursed form, and he never told me. Why? As my mind whirls, I feel everything coming together like the pieces of a puzzle. Secrets are secrets for a reason, Princess. You should know that. If I could speak on them, I would, but I can't. It's sad. Natalie, I wish I could explain. He would hate me, or more accurately, would be afraid of me. All of those times Claude was clutching at his chest. You were touching your tattoo so many times before, like you were in pain. The beast growls and the sound is surprisingly soft, almost a sigh. That did sound like a beast's sigh. Then that tattoo was a warning. The first time I saw that tattoo was a beautiful rose. The second time I had more thorns. When the rose becomes ensnared in thorns, did he transform? And he always touched his tattoo when he came too close to me. Claude, your curse did not just make others fall in love with you. It stopped you from loving anyone too, didn't it? He mentioned that woman before, the one he thought loved him but didn't. Is it possible that she saw him in this form and was terrified of him? If he loved anyone, he would turn to a beast. You loved a woman once, but she only loved you because of her curse. The minute you transformed, she was scared of you, wasn't she? Yes. You sound so pained. The reason Claude has been trying to hide everything from me is because he's scared that I would have feared him. That is why beauty has always been so important to him. but the curse cast upon him makes him both beautiful and a beast. I wanted you to love me, but no one could love a beast. His words are dwindling. It almost sounds like he's been suffocated on the inside with how slowly he speaks. Claude, I have never cared much about appearances. People have worn masks on their face their whole life around me. Makes sense. Claude, I take a deep breath and face him. I will love you more no matter what form you take. That's so nice. I draw my sword to the ground and make my way over to him. I rest my cheek on his chest and wrap my arms around him. I bet it's soft and fluffy. Sorry. I love you. Oh, happy endings. The room is filled with a bright but gentle light. It almost feels like I'm bathing in sunlight. For a few moments, I forget my worries. Everything else feels blissful and quiet. My heart feels full. Then moments later, I feel warm arms around my waist. Oh, I love you too, Natalie. Oh. Ah, it's Cuban again. When I open my eyes, I still can't see anything, even though I know that the light has faded. The warmth is still there too, but now I feel it immediately on my skin, and I realize that it's because Claude is hugging me. Not as a beast, but as a man. Did it break his curse? I realize this is the first time Claude has ever touched me for a long period of time without abruptly moving away. Tentatively, I move my hands to feel the fabric of his shirt and the warmth of him under it. Claude. But before I can finish my sentence, my lips are sealed. I feel Claude's lips on mine only briefly, but it is enough to make me suddenly feel faint. He pulls away from me with a brilliant smile. I've always wanted to do that. Natalie, you're blushing. If I could, I would kiss you again, but we have some urgent things to attend to. The reality of the situation begins to seep back into me. My father, Varg, Alcaster, they are all standing in the throne room. The king. Let's go, Natalie. Back to duties. When Claude and I rush into the throne room, my attention is immediately grabbed by the king calling my name. Natalie, he's still bound to the throne, though his gag is removed. A rush of relief floods through me. He is alive, and he remembers me. My gaze is drawn to the two men battling at the base of the throne. Their swords are locked together in a stalemate. Alcaster and... Fritz? What has happened here? This is not how you'd gain power. I knew you would be a thorn in my side from the moment I concocted this plan. Where is Varg? The only one here is me, and I will... Fritz's concentration slips, his eyes land on me. The opening is small, but is enough as to give Alcaster opportunity he needs. Watch out! Claude is already running over to help, but even he is too slow. Alcaster disarms Fritz before drawing his sword through Fritz's chest. Oof. No! Alcaster pulls the sword out of Fritz's chest just fast enough to deflect Claude's attack. As Claude drives Alcaster away from the throne, I rush to where Fritz has collapsed to the ground. His eyes are almost growing glassy. Fritz! I lean over him. There's so much blood. I glare at Alcaster. How can you do this to your own son? Anyone in my way will meet my sword. Blood does not matter. Princess. I turn back to Fritz in alarm, tears in my eyes. That's sad. Fritz, hold on. Don't speak. You need to conserve your energy. Princess, I'm sorry. Fritz, please don't speak. I felt better tears stinging in my eyes. I'm sorry. I watch as the light seeps from Fritz's eyes. I put my hand on his chest to feel for heartbeat, but Fritz's body is still. Fritz! I glance up at the sound and see Claude at the far side of the room, struggling to get to his feet. Natalie, watch out! I turn but am not fast enough. I see Alcaster's sword raising high in the air, and I know it will reach me before I can pick up my sword. The sword falls from Alcaster's hand as a bright red ribbon of light twines around the hilt and drags far from reach. I turn and see Dolores standing a short distance away, Warren and Garland and Walsall standing behind her. I'm afraid her performance as king has been incredibly disappointing. Warren and Garland move together, rushing Alcaster from the same side. I see Claude moving in from the other side, quiet and lethal. Princess! Waltz and Dolores rush over to me as the fighting continues. Alcaster has reclaimed his sword and is trying to evade attacks from 3 different swords at once. The king! Waltz nods at me, his gaze lingering on Fritz as his expression becomes solemn. He walks off to the throne while Dolores kneels beside me. Dolores shakes her head, and that is all I need to know, that there is nothing more to be done. We will make sure he is properly honored. But for now, we need to get you out of here. What about Ophelia? Waiting for us somewhere safe. I constructed a shield around that. We'll keep her hidden from view and harm until we return to her. Weren't we meant to bring the royal family back to the Martian first? No, we're missing the night. Besides, plans change when a magical beast starts rampaging in the castle. Princess. I turn to look at Alcaster, still somehow managing to scream my name despite the fact that he is being quickly overwhelmed. Princess, we could have worked together. If you were more like your mother, you could have ruled with grace, beauty, and fear. I flinched back and Dolores' hands come to rest on my forearm, her grip steadying. That is enough. I look up and see that the king has stopped to stand beside me. To my surprise, the king rests a gentle hand on my shoulder, his eyes soft as he looks at me. Natalie, we have a lot to talk about, but right now I have something I must do. I nod mutely and watch the king draw his sword. Come on, king! He makes his way to Alcaster. Warren, Garland, and Claude step back from where they have forced Alcaster to one knee. You are a traitor, lacking any honor, Alcaster. Come on, Gennaro! You are the one that lacked honor. A ruler must have the people beneath his thumb. A ruler must lead people, not suffocate them. His oath as king is to protect them. You are no king, Alcaster. For your crimes I find you guilty and incapable of rehabilitation. The sentence for the severity of your crimes is death. The king raised his sword and I turn away before he strikes down his sword. Oof. There's no sound or scream to follow. I turn once more to see that the king had pointed the sword at Alcaster's chest, but has not killed him. You will stay in the prisons until the time for your trial comes. Though you might try to refute these claims, you will be tried as a traitor to the kingdom, and then you will be executed. Alcaster's shoulders fall. The glare never leaves his face, not even when guards seize him and drag him from the room. The king immediately sends Warren and Garland out to deal with any knights that are still a part of the coup. Delora and Claude help with moving Fritz's body, while Waltz tries his best to fill the king in on the most basic points of other successful operation. Okay. Everything has died down a little bit over the last hour, but I still feel overwhelmed. I glance at Waltz and the king, who are still speaking. Every time the king sees me looking at him, he flashes me an uncertain smile before glancing away. I know he wants to speak with me, but I will talk to him after. After he get Fritz's body out of my mind, it was my fault he died, wasn't it? He saw me and stumbled. Hey, princess, what are you doing here? Here I thought you changed, but you've still got some fetishiness. Fetishiness? Oh my god. Feistiness in you, don't you? Many years ago, when the war ended, we were all faced with a feeling just like this, princess. We had lost so much and the future seemed so grim. But now it's different, you have a future. You broke your curse, princess. It gives us some kind of hope. In addition, you broke karma's. Memories of Claude's arms around me, of his lips on mine, come flying back to my foggy mind. My heart still feels tight, but it's a little lighter when I think about him. I wish he was here right now. How did I break Claude's curse? Claude. I don't think I'll ever get used to his real name. Seems like he hasn't told you, and I guess it's pretty hectic. So Claude turned to beast because he loved me? Well, I guess I could give you the laydown of his curse. Stop, desist. Dolores not even started to speak when Claude runs to the room, gasping as if he's been running through the halls. Curse! Are you speaking about my curse? There's no way you heard us talk in the hallway, is there? Even I feel a little at a loss for words right now. I sense that you might be talking about me. The princess was just asking me about your curse. Oh, then I was ready to come running, and here I was just guessing at what you might be talking about. Karma, I guess Claude's curse was based off the tale of the Beauty and the Beast, obviously. Claude easily finishes her sentence. Laura holds up her hands as if in surrender. So eager to steal the spotlight. Well, you're talking about me after all. You always told me that your curse was just Beauty's curse, though. Well, yes, because the other half was a little difficult to explain, wasn't it? He has a point, though I think he might have been able to save us all some trouble if he hadn't been so secretive about his curse. He really must have been scared that I would shun him. Allow me to explain, princess. In the fairy tale, Prince of a Kingdom is transformed into a beast because his heart is as cold as ice. Sounds familiar to stern icy princess, eh? Just trying to lighten the mood. Claude sighs. I would call Natalie something far more flattering, like my sweet beloved. We were talking about your curse. Alright, well anyway, the witch who cursed the prince in the tale tells him that he has to learn to love and be loved because before the petals of a rose completely fall off. A rose? Yeah, she gives him a rose and he keeps it protected under glass. Some time passes and the rose continues to wither away. A maiden finds a beast and eventually the two fall in love. At the end of the tale, she confesses her love to the beast and he transforms back into a human. By confessing I saved you. But his curse was different from the tale. I know what you're thinking, that my curse was somewhat different. It was more complicated. The witch made it so much so that I was both the beauty and the beast. She said it suited me because it was so vain. The witch constructed a very roundabout curse. Any woman who falls for me falls in love with me as a beauty. And when I transform into a beast, the enchantment would break and they would become terrified of me. That's horrible. I doubt Claude ever thought he would break his curse. The love women felt for him while he was cursed was always fake. How could that kind of love hold strong when he turned to a beast if it was never true to begin with? Then he came along, princess. I bet he just Then you came along, princess. I bet he just about given you hope and was waiting for you to dispel the curse on your birthday, but now here you both are. But the Ice Prince is in love. What a miracle. I turn away embarrassed. It is not a miracle. I'm very glad I met you, Natalie. Lady Dolores' words are the truth. I had just given up hope. I never had any hopes of breaking my curse. I had thought that the only way to fix it would be to have you dispel it on your birthday. But then I came to know you, and you fell in love. A fairy tale indeed. You started out frowning at everyone and everything. You've come a long way, princess. Congratulations, you turned out to be a pretty okay princess, and you turned out to be a pretty okay witch. Do my ears deceive me? A compliment from our little witch? You look so surprised, but you'll be the new bearer of your crystal real soon, princess. I expected things from you. Right, I almost forgot about that part. I'll try my best. Yet another miraculous proclamation from the little witch. Will the surprises never cease? Before I can snap at Delora again, the king awkwardly interjects, coming to stand next to us with Waltz by his side. Pardon the intrusion. Oh, not at all, your majesty. Waltz told me they were cursed. That's why I forgot about you. Yes. Even if it was by a curse, I would feel terrible that such a thing could have ever happened. So I'll make it up to you. We can catch up from where we were many, many years ago. And maybe things can be different. I'm sorry. What for? For being the way that I was before? For shining Ophelia and her children? Oh, Ophelia. Did they bring her back to the Martian? Ophelia's still here. After the fight was over, she was shown back to her room. She is still waiting for Rod and Emily to return. Now, would you maybe be willing to tell me the story from the beginning? Perhaps you can fill in the gaps, your majesty. Claude? The king looks startled when he stares at Claude. He blinks as if he has just noticed his presence. Oh, and you are? Claude eagerly bows before the king. I'm Prince Claude of Brigantia. A pleasure to finally meet you, your majesty. The lost prince? The king turns to me with a puzzled look. It's a long story. Claude surprises me by wrapping an arm around my shoulders and pulling me closer to him. Everyone looks shocked except for Delora, who looks like she is trying not to laugh. As a princess's lover, I feel it in my obligation to help her explain this whole mess. I feel my face getting hotter at Claude's sudden proclamation. All their eyes are now on me, and I suddenly feel like hiding myself. Only Claude would so bluntly say such a thing. The king looks more shocked than anything. When did this happen? Well, your majesty, I think we had better start at the beginning. Here we go. We were able to tell the king everything, save for where Varric had disappeared to. No one was sure where he had gone in all the chaos. The night search for him all ended up in failure. A lot of explaining had to be done, not just to the king, but also the people of the tavern. As soon as everything has calmed down, Ron and Emmeline finally went back to the palace. I apologized to them as best I could, and they all seemed willing to try again with me. And I'm willing to try again too. As for Claude, so you're going back. Are you sure you don't want to come to Brigantia with me just for a short holiday? I love nothing more than introduce you to my family. Mother would shower you with gifts. Father would, well, tease you probably. He makes jokes frequently. And Llama? What did you say, Llama? He has a pet llama. My brother, Llama. What? Another acronym. We're Karma and Llama. Does your father do these things on purpose? I totally like jokes. My brother's real name is Lance. I was going to bring you back and introduce the two of you. And you could tell my little brother how very charming I am. Is it just my imagination, or is there a glimmer of competition in his eyes? As much as I would like to meet your family, you have your own obligations here, and you need to let your family know that you are safe and alive. But the thought of being separated from you, Claude sighs before he leans down and plants a kiss on my forehead. I'll miss you. You won't be gone that long. Love, that's not how you're supposed to respond. You're supposed to say, my sweet prince, I'll miss you too. Fine then, I'll miss you. Maybe. Claude raises an eyebrow at me and then smiles. I'll be back for your birthday. I love you, Natalie. So because that's my name. It's only been a few weeks since Claude left, but I'm impatient. The king has been throwing grand dinners every night in preparation for my birthday. But I can hardly concentrate on anything else when I am thinking of Claude. I told him about all of the smaller birthday celebrations. I thought he would be here for them. My birthday's in a few days. When will he come back? I've tried to make myself busy mainly by continuing my sword practice in Warren and Garland, who have both rejoined the Order of Caldera. Every time around the nights, I think of Fritz. I shall bring some new flowers tomorrow. If Claude would just return already, we can go pay our respects together. Hello, Natalie, my love, my sunshine, my beautiful betrothed. Claude? I shake my head and try to gather my thoughts. First of all, you did not knock. Second, we are not engaged. We may as well be, don't you think? At the very least, knock before you come in. Still worried I would come in on you in the middle of changing? Would you have minded so terribly? Yes. It's worth saying those things to you just to see you blush. Why are you even here? His arrival is so sudden I had absolutely no time to prepare. Claude sighs dramatically. You didn't want me back here? No, I mean you did not even write to say you'd be back today. I just wasn't expecting you. I did say I would be back for your birthday. I'm a man of my word. Should I have stayed any out longer? No, of course not. I grumble as Claude walks over my bed, grinning. He sits down on my bed next to me and wraps an arm around my waist, pulling me closer. I sigh out and lean my head on his shoulder. It is a startling contrast to what it used to be. Before, if I touched him, he would flinch and turn away from me. Now he's almost always near me. He's always right next to me. Claude's whole body seems relaxed when I tentatively wrap my arms around him and hug him back. I know I would miss you, but it really was terrible being away from you. But enjoy the time with your family. I did, and my brother was very frustrated that I spoke about you almost every hour of the day. How could you have that much to say about me? Oh, I felt that I didn't have enough time to list off all of your virtues. I nudged him in the arm, but he just grins at me. A glint from Claude's pocket catches my eye, and it flashed proudly when I noticed a rose locket. Looking at the locket makes me think back to the night when he transformed back into a prince. Lost in thought, are we? I was just noticing the locket is still carried around with you? Of course I do. It has become my most valuable possession. It pulls the little locket out and pops it open. I am startled when I see the small sheet of paper with my own words in it. My message to him is still there. Claude smiles as he reads the words aloud. A normal rose would have withered, so I offer this one instead in heartfelt thanks. I say nothing when he turns to look at me. Oh ho, your cheeks are red again. Your embarrassment is adorable, darling. I'm not embarrassed. I just didn't think he'd keep the words in there or that it would ever mean so much to him. Yes, of course. You just have exceptionally rosy cheeks. He pauses as he closes the locket again and looks at it fondly. I love this locket because it is the first gift he gave me. He was holding the locket as the beast too. It was half the reason I recognized him. I jump as Claude gently taps my nose with his finger. This locket isn't going anywhere anytime soon, I can assure you. I smile as he winks at me. Anyway, allow me to pull you back into the present. Since I promised you no more secrets, let me tell you something. Oh? Claude looks away from me, his eyebrows furrowing, and I frown. I hope it is nothing serious. I'm nervous about sitting down to dinner with your father tonight. You aren't nervous? I start laughing without even meaning to. You're laughing at my pain, princess. He pulls me closer and kisses the top of my head. But you're too flamboyant to be nervous. I'm confident, princess, not flamboyant. There's a difference. Right. Claude's expression grows more solemn. He looks at me seriously, almost sadly. Natalie, I'm still sorry about lying to you. That whole time I made myself up to be someone beautiful. Someone I wasn't. I believed I was truly a good person on the inside and that I deserved good things, even though I was selfish. He's already apologized to me before, too many times. Claude, you do not have to apologize. No, that witch was right, it cursed me. I've always had everything handed to me on a silver platter. When it came to Anjali, I believed that if I wasn't going to help break my curse, it wasn't important. And then I met you. At first, I thought I would just have to get on your good side so you can help me dispel my curse. But then, Natalie, I realized I was drawn to your confidence and commitment. But I could never admit that I was in love with you. I was so scared that if I transformed into beast and you were scared of me, I would lose my chance of winning your heart. So you could see, princess, I was selfish. I want all of you without having to give you all of me. I looked down at where our hands are intertwined and I grip his fingers tighter. I told you enough times now that you have nothing to apologize for. But if you insist on apologizing, maybe you ought to do something, make it up to me. Those words are out of my lips before I can even think of them. I stop suddenly, trying to ignore the hot flesh in my cheeks. Claude looks at me puzzled, and for a few moments I feel triumphant that I have caught him off guard. Then the puzzled looks faded, and Claude just grins at me. Oh my, so forward. But forward? I open my mouth to apologize when he suddenly grabs my hand and tugs me down the bed. The instincts Claude taught me in my sword fighting are quickly overwhelmed by my surprise. In no time at all, he has me pinned down on the bed and is looming just above me, smiling. Ooh, get it. Ooh. I'm disappointed. Princess, you knew my weakness and you didn't even exploit it there. Your weakness. Yes. He leans closer to me and our noses almost touch. My weakness is you, Natalie. He leans down, our lips finally meet. I relax into the contact, my earlier tension melting away as warmth flows through me. He pulls away and smiles at me. You see, I let my guard down in front of you. I let my guard down in front of him too, and only him. This whole time, and all I've wanted to do is to be able to touch him like this. His fingers move gently at my arm and he leans down to kiss me again. Oh. Huh? The sound of knocking startles us both. A muffled voice comes through the door. Princess, the king is requesting your presence down in the dining hall. It says that your friends have arrived. Princess? I hear the doorknob begin to turn and quickly speak. Yes, I'll be there in a minute. I'll let them know, Princess. First the curse, now this. It is as if the world is conspiring against us. He kisses me once more on the forehead before slowly sitting up and running a hand through his hair. I catch a mischievous look into my eyes as I smooth down my own ruffled hair. Don't worry, Natalie. We'll just finish this later. I feel my cheeks blush. You do such uncouth things. Claude chuckles before he stands up and offers his hand. I take it and smile up at him. I love you, Natalie, and now I get to say it as many times as I like. I love you too, Claude. I stand up on my toes to plant a quick kiss on his lips before heading to the door. Let's go, Claude. Oh, there we go. We're done. So that was Cinderella Phenomenon. Both the karma's good and bad ending. But if you want to play all the endings, which I have before, personally, go ahead, and it's on Steam. And let me know if you like this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Bye!